Joining me from San Francisco, Adam Drucker, a.k.a. Dose One. Hi, Adam.
Hi.
And Tim Holland, a.k.a. Soul. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Now, you're both intimately involved in the running of the Anticon label, as both the mechanics behind the scenes and as the artists on the label. And the 1999 compilation Music for the Advancement of Hip-Hop really kicked off the whole Anticon experience. What were you hoping for when you released that compilation?
Cars.
Haircut money.
Yeah.
Gold.
No, we just, we just wanted to kind of announce who we were, what our goals were, what we were trying to do. The title Music for the Advancement of Hip-Hop. It's actually, it's something we believed. We definitely came from like a love of hip-hop and really just wanted to make some statements and challenge what was going on in hip-hop music at the time. And, that was before I knew what the word pretentious meant, right?
Next thing you know, we got and what else did that do? Kind of was the beginning of grouping ourselves, and, it was the flag on the moon. We have a flag on the moon. Also, at the same time we put together Advancement for Hip-Hop, we went to the moon and put a flag up there.
It's like a high school fantasy, I always wanted to be a part of like a Wu-Tang Clan kind of thing, and so when I was old enough to join a Wu-Tang Clan, Anticon made the most sense.
You mentioned that you wanted to challenge hip hop. In what way did you? What was it in particular that you wanted to challenge?
Just to be, I think we were just trying to be creative, and then creative became. Well, I wouldn't say just creative.
It was just to be ourselves.
At first we were, well, that's what it became. At first we were like intense underground artists, and we wanted to just be that. And then that became being ourselves, and the lyrics followed suit, and that's where it's sort of stayed. So, and that's why the music has changed, not as heavily hip-hop at times. Were
you hoping that you would have like a second and a third sort of step, or were you kind of just threw it out there as a probe?
That record was basically, we started Anticon to put out the Deep Puddle record. We recorded Deep Puddle, and that was,
we didn't know what to do with ourselves when we did that.
Yeah, we thought we were going to get some deal because we thought it was a great record, and
it was cathartic. The experience was really cathartic, so it kind of threw us for a loop in the world. But then Anticon. Tim called me like a month later, and him and Brandon the pedestrian were brainstorming names. They were like, "What do you think of Anticon?" And I was like, "Sure." And that was it. They were like, Anticon,
Anticon.
Oh yeah. And then that was it. And then Revolver and Dwayne, Massman, put that out.
Yeah, I mean, like in the beginning when you don't have any money, you're nobody. The music you make isn't something that a lot of people are checking for at the time. It only made sense that everybody that we knew that was making out there hip hop, that really, when I first heard the Subutones, when I first heard Shapeshifters, when I first heard Atmosphere, like all that stuff just sent me through the roof, and that's like all I could listen to, and it just totally changed the way I made music, changed the way I wrote, and I was like, wow, I'm sitting here making these songs, and I'm saying this, but these guys are saying this, and they're actually saying it better at times, and the more you listen to other people that are trying to do the same thing around us, it really, it made a lot of sense for all of us to kind of band together. And
we weren't really all listening to each other pre that comp either. I think that
who are you talking about specifically in this early stage?
Subutones, Slug, Atmosphere, when Slug was all Atmosphere, the Live Poets, myself alone with Gel, Mr. Dibbs, DJ Signify.
So there's Minnesota, Ohio, Maine, Halifax,
Chicago.
Okay.
And then a little bit in New York. He was a turntablist, so there's no such thing as turntablists.
And so what was it that you did a lot of your early correspondence with these people over the net, or was it tape trades, or what was the
phone bills,
all that stuff?
All of it, yeah. It all led there. I was on this Third World Citizens comp that Dibbs got me on with one of my demo songs, and then I got it like half a year later, and there was a Live Poets song on it, and I was like studying for a philosophy exam in college or something, and I'm listening to it, and I'm going, oh my God, who is this guy? And then a week later, Dibbs had a show with the Live Poets, and I gave him a tape to give to him. And that same week, Gel brought me down a copy of Atmosphere. And then I called Tim, and he was like, oh, I just met that Atmosphere dude. So it all actually, within the same week, right around April 21st, everything came together.
Yeah, it was weird. It was crazy.
97, 98.
It was like the first time I'd ever been flown anywhere too.
It was very faded, I must say. It was pretty faded. It was cool. It kind of made me feel like I was doing the right thing.
Yeah, and then Dose called me, like he gave me a tape.
Dibs told him I'd be annoying.
Yeah, he's like, dude, just tell this kid you'll do a song with him. He's crazy. He just got some money. He's just gonna hop on a bus and he wants to come to Maine. He's gonna do a record. Just tell him you'll do it, dude. And then so I get the tape and I actually forgot it in Memphis. And then he calls me like the next week and he's playing me the new stuff on the phone. I was just like, oh my God, this is the best music I've ever heard. Like, get down here. And then then it was me, him, and Alias, and we thought, oh, that's too many people on that's like too much Maine on one record, and we needed somebody to balance it out.
So we tried Minnesota, yeah. Because Slug was great. That first Atmosphere record was definitely rocked my socks. Yeah.
Well, what was the experience of growing up hip hop in like Ohio and Maine, sort of off the beaten hip hop path, as it were?
I actually grew up in Jersey and Philly, so I was I was extremely hip hop. I was actually in Anticon. I'd say I'm probably the
hip hopist,
the most hip hopist. Me and Jeff and Jell, and so you know, it was cool. It was major identity crisis, face punching, headphone and madness, and then you know that was how I got into music though, was hip hop. Nothing. I had like a Tiffany tape when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah, I just used to get jumped, and you know, I was like the only kid in high school with or middle school, you know, with the Carl Kanai and Black Moon tape.
That's how he met Alias. He was in the mall wearing Alias came up to him in the mall and said, "Hey, nice Carl Kanai suit."
I was like, "Oh, you ever heard of Tim Holland on the radio?" He's like, "Yeah, I've heard of you." And then,
well, I mean, as far as like the hip hop that you were exposed to though growing up, I mean, where did you get a hold of it, and what might have been some of the early heroes?
I was pretty lucky because I was always like working at I always had a friend that was working at a radio station that moved there from LA. Like there's always that one dude in the city who's kind of hip to what's going on, and like I was lucky enough to like where I lived on Woodlawn Avenue in Maine, there was like this DJ named Mr. Mix down the street who like claimed to be friends with Premier, and I was like 14 and I'd go to his house and rap and he'd show me his pictures with him and Chuck D, and so like, you know, I definitely like you know, and he'd listen to my music and he'd be like, "Man, don't say it like that, you gotta say it like A to the motherfucking D," or whatever, and then he'd, you know, give me a Little Sean tape or a Big Daddy Kane or whatever and try to teach me how to rap a little bit. And
yeah, I was in high school and I was kind of part of this like interracial cool posse graffiti hip-hop menagerie crew, and then we would always buy like the one copy of Freestyle Fellowship that came to our city, or you know, we were always, there's this place Funko Mart that we used, they sold gold chains and stolen turntables and hip-hop, and we'd go down there, and we were pretty much abreast with that. We were in our high school, we were kind of the music clique, so I was into just about that, like the early 90s. I bought every single rap tape that there was, and it wasn't always exciting. Trends of culture on back to...
Well, did you understand the distinction back then between, like, you know, what we call sort of independent or underground hip-hop, and then, you know, what the overground stuff was?
But
there
wasn't
I think
any independent
indie hip-hop started with the Project Blowed record, I'd say. Was there anything before that you got that was like someone helped put out that was an actual...
Well, the Black Moon stuff goes back farther than that and was...
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Black Moon was the first indie hip-hop that really...
And that sure struck me as that. When I heard Black Moon, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
actually put.
I used to rap
blunt.
Like Buckshot Shorty. Actually.
Oh, Tim used to rap like everybody.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that then. The sort of discovering what your own style is, or is that?
Yeah, no.
It's just. I mean, for us. I mean, I know for me, I just kept biting, and you know, first I sounded like, I don't know. First I sounded like Ice Cube or Tupac. Then I started to sound like first it was Beastie Boys, then it was Fat Boys and Run DMC and Public Enemy and Tupac, and then Black Moon, and then Nas, then
okay,
OC.
but what kind of stuff were you attracted to? Would it be like, you know, you wanted to be like fast like them, or deep like them, or lyrical like them?
Even the accent. Well, I guess all that comes across though, because everyone would kind of, you know, the slate every year and a half, the slate would get wiped clean with who was the bestest rapper, and you would kind of osmose, like Rascass at a point, you know, came out and but you know, so it was kind of, I know for me, I was all Guru, and then I was Mr.